Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a pretty awesome Neptune replay from AlexCT of the TDG clan on the EU server, and he's playing in the Neptune, the tier 9 British light cruiser, and he's playing by himself, and it's some domination here on the map Ice Islands. So if you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, @gmail.com. Please include the replay file, post game screenshots if you have them, a brief description of the battle, and then if you'd like myself, Spider, or Puddin to do the commentary, you can also request for that in your video submissions as well. So, the Neptune and Alex here on Ice Islands, what are you going to see in this replay? Well, the Neptune is not necessarily the best tier 9 cruiser by any standard, and some people think that it's kind of an odd duck in the line. The Edinburgh, and let me explain really quickly. The Edinburgh is the tier 8 British light cruiser, and you have the excellent stealth at 9 kilometers, and it's the first one that gets the mega heal, and it has OKAA, and it's a ship that's very powerful at its tier. One of the best cruisers at its tier, quite frankly. Then, of course, you have the Minotaur at tier 10 that can get down to, I think, 8.9 kilometers detection, and of course it has the incredibly rapid firing 152 millimeter guns. It has insane AA. It has the mega heal, of course. It's a very powerful ship, and you can also put radar on that thing as well. The Neptune, well, it's all right at tier 9. It's very powerful. It's the first of the British light cruisers where you get the really fast rate of fire, and if you have the proper build, you can have a base reload of under 5 seconds with these guns. But one of the turrets doesn't have the best firing angle. I believe it's the Y turret. Your concealment is actually rather poor for other British light cruisers' comparison's sake. 10 kilometers flat is not really, or excuse me, 10.3 kilometers. 10 kilometers is the range of your torpedoes. 10.3 kilometer concealment is, well, it's not really that special. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of cruisers both below you and above you and at your tier that are going to be able to outspot you. Japanese cruisers, the Neptune, Worcester, Minotaur, they all come to mind, and Zhao does, and it's kind of difficult to get in close because your concealment really doesn't help you out. So this ship is more of a midline support ship rather than the Edinburgh and the Minotaur being able to get in really close before using smoke and or radar if you prefer that play style. Now Alex here is going to make some very ballsy plays at the very beginning of the game in and around the B cap. Now you can see that he does shoot and he is not detected, so that means that the enemy destroyer, as he now gets detected, would have had to have been most likely behind the island at E5, as it's very unlikely that he's behind the island at E6, as he just came around the corner. So that destroyer is definitely the northwest part of the capture point, and you can see that he went undetected, so chances are that destroyer that's on the cap decided to reverse back behind the island. So he's gotten some really good armor-piercing broadsides into this Yamato. And of course, the Neptune is only able to shoot AP, but it's that very quick arming British AP that we all know and love, which means that it's a lot easier to score penetrating hits, especially on battleships that are bow on or angled away. You can see that the damage has already stacked up quite considerably to 30,000, but Alex has taken some shots here, not just from the Yamato, but some other cruisers as well. It appears the Worcester is trying to get some shots at him. So he uses his first smokescreen of the game just to the southeast of the B capture point. The enemy team is going to get control of C, which they do right now. However, his team does manage to get the first frag of the game, so they do have a decent lead, and they are going to be able to get that A cap over there at some point. So right now, the positioning from the enemy team and his team is pretty okay for a random battle game. You can see the last reported position. There is a Neptune that is inside that smoke screen that is in just off the starboard bow of Alex here. So he's going to drop some torpedoes into that smoke and see what he can do. And one thing that's hilarious to watch, and it's a very, very deadly engagement, is when two British high-tier light cruisers engage one another, because those citadels are oh so easy to get to that whoever gets the drop on the enemy ship is going to be dealing a crap load of damage before the other guy really knows what hits him. And we're going to see a couple examples of that here. Now, of course, this is after patch 0.8.0, so the Neptune AA, which was long one of the best AAs in the game, tier for tier. Well, obviously the mini patch just came in, and it's made it so that the AA guns' raw DPS, the raw damage that they do, is a lot greater instead of relying on the flak bursts. So this is before the mini patch, so you're not going to see too many planes shot down when enemy fighters and bombers and whatnot fly over. But the Neptune does have great AA. Now here we go. This Neptune is caught with his pants down. He's at 7.8 kilometers. The Shimakaze did provide the smokescreen for him. And a triple Citadel, 6 pens on the first salvo. You can see here that Alex is able to shoot from stealth because he is outside of the stealth firing range, which is very important. And that Neptune eats 10 Citadels, 16 penetrating hits, and he gets sent to the bottom of the ocean. So basically, in 3 salvos, Alex was able to completely wipe off the map that Tier 9 British light cruiser. And that is, well, Neptune gameplay in a nutshell. If you position in the wrong spot and you get caught giving your broadside to anything, really, you're going to pay for it. Even at medium range, Soviet DD AP on the Kaba and the Grozovoy is able to Citadel you at ranges of 6 and 7 kilometers. So, yeah, when you make a mistake, you pay for it with the snap of a finger. So at this point, you can see that his next smokescreen is about to come up. The North Carolina, the Conqueror, the Worcester are all aiming at him, so he decides to deploy his next smokescreen, which I think is a good idea. You know, he's detected. He's now down to about 3/4 hit points, just trying to get out of line of sight, which he is able to successfully do so. However, the gearing is moving away, and he could have potentially dropped torpedoes on his location, and unfortunately the hydroacoustic is down. That's one thing that the Neptune does get, and trying to manage your smokes and your hydroacoustic can be a little tricky because the hydroacoustic takes quite a bit longer to come back than the smoke does. However, if you are able to cycle it effectively, then there's really no excuse to be eating torpedoes when you're inside your smoke. But at this point, Alex is in a pretty dangerous situation. Those gearing torpedoes could have been dropped, and unfortunately, he is sitting perpendicular to his last reported position. So in this situation, I don't think I'd be sitting broadside like that, but at the moment, it's not really hurting him, so whatever. Still sitting inside the B-cap, that Shimakaze on 7,500 hit points that was just detected briefly by the gearing is still in that position next to the island, so he's not really going to be able to get off this cap without dying, which is great. So there we go. Alex now uses his next hydroacoustic search, which is good. And he's getting some really good shots into the Conqueror, and you can see that even at longer ranges, this British AP, if it manages to bite into that superstructure, it really is able to deal a lot of damage. And speaking of damage, if you've lost track of the damage counter, he's up to 110,000 as he gets another 5k salvo that falls in right on that Conqueror superstructure. So if you do come under sustained fire from a Neptune, and a Minotaur, and an Edinburgh, it is going to hurt a lot. He did drop his torpedoes downrange at the North Carolina, assuming that that guy is going to continue heading south. But now at this point, that Shimakaze needs to get taken off of the cap, so he is going to go try and make a play here. He still has 56 seconds left on his hydroacoustic, and while it doesn't have the longest range, it's still going to be able to provide plenty of warning for torpedoes. And if he gets close enough, he'll be able to snag the Shimakaze outright. However, he is now solo capping the B point because the Shima realized that he needed to get off the cap. And, yep, the Kurfürst totally TK'd the Seattle. If you guys had been paying attention to chat at the very beginning, that Stewie Griffin guy was really being a Debbie Downer. And, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that's all about, but unfortunately his team is now down by almost 400 points, so things are not looking good. However, it appears that maybe some friendlies are going to finally get on the A cap, and he is, at least it looks like he's going to be able to get B secured for his team. He is detected. The North Carolina is only 8.8 kilometers away, so he decides to use his third smokescreen of the game, and fortunately for him, the North Cal is not aiming at his direction, so he should be able to get this cap with a solo, which is kind of a rare sight, at least in a Neptune. Not so much in the Edinburgh or the Minotaur, but definitely in a Neptune, but that's okay. So now he's got one source of points coming in for his team, and he's getting a few broadside shots with the forward turrets on that North Cal. So his positioning right now is still okay. The enemy team is quite spread out. There's a lot of ships that are well north of A, and then there's also quite a bit of ships that are over in the vicinity of the C cap, and you can see that Captain Stewie Griffin is pushing in his Kurfürst, so he's kind of going man mode for some reason. I'm not sure what that's all about, but hopefully Alex is going to be able to provide him some support, but unfortunately nothing is spotted at the moment, so that Kurfürst is going to have to get stuck in quite a bit more before good support can be provided. So he's going to drop his next set of torpedoes, the starboard side that is, down at the North Cal. And the Edinburgh, without a torpedo build, does have a pretty decent base reload. You saw there about 1 minute and 33 seconds before you can launch a broadside of 8 torpedoes, which is pretty nice. I have seen some people go with a full torpedo build. It's not recommended, but you can get that reload down quite a bit more. Now you're going to see the excellent maneuverability of British light cruisers in general, but the Neptune, of course, being able to speed up very, very quickly, and then with the good rudder shift, getting out of the way from those torpedoes. The Minotaur, however, does get a few salvos off before he goes behind the island. That is a favorite tactic of mine, throwing a couple salvos downrange right before you go into cover, and they're guaranteed to not be able to retaliate to you. And that Minotaur was able to chunk down about 7,500 hit points off of Alex, so a great play by that guy right there. And he is now going to set up shop just a little bit to the northwest, or excuse me, the northeast of Alex's position behind the island. You can see that the gearing was coming around the island, it seems. He's at 5.7 kilometers. I'm not 100% sure if he realizes that Alex is right here. And unfortunately, this gearing is going, I think he's got a little bit of target fixation going on right now as he's just trying to get some shots here at the curve first. Oh boy, this is going to hurt. 9,400 on the first salvo with 11 pens. The next one going down range, 7,300. Puts him down to 1k hit points. And in 3 salvos at point blank range, that tier 10 American destroyer is kaput. And that is probably the best example of the British AP that you're going to see, because it arms so quickly. Even though destroyers generally have about 19 millimeters of armor, it is able to arm before it goes on the other side of the ship. And that poor gearing, just like snap of a finger, just got obliterated. In 10 seconds, he's gone, wiped off the map. So now Alex is up to 2 kills and 142,000 points of damage. The Kerfurst does manage to take down the Shimakaze before he kicks the bucket, which is actually very important because now the enemy team does not have any destroyers. So at least Alex here does not have to worry about a DD getting within, I'd say, medium range of him. And since he has smoke, there's no way that he would be able to detect him. So now it's much more manageable in his engagements against other cruisers. And to top it all off, that smoke screen now provides a little bit of line of sight coverage from the Conqueror, so he is able to get some shots downrange at him, some free damage without getting detected, which is very important. The North Cal is going to go down here from the Moskva, so now with that battleship threat neutralized, his team has been able to bring the scores back quite a bit. It's 465 to 483, and his team is going to have A and B for the rest of this game. The enemy team is in no position to try and contest both of those caps. So at this point, the enemy team is definitely on the back foot, and now it's going to be up to his friendly team to not die too quickly and to be able to kind of herd those guys into the northeastern corner of the map. So Alex is going to go around the corner here, and he's going to see what he can do. Now, he sees that he is RPF'd, and if I were a betting man, I would imagine either the Worcester or the Minotaur, has him on RPF, or at least had him on RPF before it goes away. So I'm going to guess that the Minotaur has it, and I'm going to guess that the Moskva probably picked it up. So at this point, the Worcester is now detected, taking some shots at the Moskva, so he's going to try and get a few salvos here as he speeds up and turns hard to starboard. You can see that he is able to get 2 salvos off before the Worcester really is able to reply, which is great. So 5,800 points of damage on the first salvo, 3,600 on the second, and then the next salvo going down range does about 3,000 before he does get into cover. So he was able to trade pretty decently there with the Worcester, taking off about 10k worth of his hit points, and then he drops his starboard side torpedoes downrange at the Minotaur's position. So pretty decent trade right there. He does use his next heal, so he gets back up to about 25,000 hit points, which is still a good amount. It's a very manageable amount to deal with. Now he's going to try to head back north and help out his friend in the Moskva. So far during the course of the replay, you've seen a little bit more aggressive play out of the Neptune than I probably would have, but it has helped him out. And because the enemy team really wasn't trying to send too many forces around the B cap, he's been able to maneuver in and around the center portion of the map and really control the engagement at his own will. Now you see right here, giving the enemy team a little taste of their own medicine, gets 2 great salvos off right as I talked about, and he manages to get the kill on the Ibuki, and he wasn't even able to retaliate because he was able to do so right as he got behind the island. So awesome stuff right there. Unfortunately, it appears the Conqueror managed to citadel him with the high explosive shot. That's an unfortunate thing that I did forget to mention. The Neptune and the Minotaur can get HE citadeled by the Conqueror and the Lion, and I believe the Monarch too. So, yeah, it's something that you just got to remember because it's easy to forget. But anyway, he was able to get those 2 shots right before he went behind the island that Ibuki had 0 chance of being able to snap a shot off. So, Alex, that was a wonderful play right there. Definitely some high-level stuff in that engagement, so well done to you. But now he's going to try to creep up here on the Minotaur, and this is a perfect situation. The Moskva is pushing around the corner, so obviously he's going to be able to get the angle on that Minotaur any second now. So, of course, the enemy ship is realizing he's got to get out of dodge, and he's now going to start moving forward, and Alex made a perfect counter-rotation. And at 5.8 kilometers, yeah, this is not a good idea. He picks up Confederate and high caliber. He gets 2 salvos off before the Minotaur is able to reply, but he's going to die. It does not matter, and there we go. He manages to get 9 citadels, 22 pens, as he finishes off that Tier 10 British light cruiser. And now you've seen 2 instances where he's able to sneak up on those British light cruisers, get himself into a good position. The first one, he was able to realize what his surface detection range was while shooting in smoke and was able to obliterate that Neptune while in the safety of his own smokescreen. And then that one right there, he was able to ambush the Minotaur, who has much better concealment, and was able to get 2 salvos off before he could react. But by that time, it's, there's nothing that he's going to be able to do. So 2 very good A-plus plays right there. Has now pushed his damage total to 210,000, 19 citadels, and of course 4 ships destroyed now. So he's really owned the center of the map, and this has been some pretty impressive gameplay. Again, the Neptune is not the easiest ship in the world to play, and it's certainly not the best Tier 9 cruiser by any stretch, but Alex has definitely taken her through her paces in this game, and it's been very impressive to watch, definitely. You can see that the the rocket planes did get a fire on the Conqueror. It doesn't really matter for Alex's sake. So I'm not really sure why I mentioned that, but hey, whatever. Neptune doesn't have HE. So he does get a couple salvos here before the Conqueror gets behind the iceberg, but now he's going to go try and chase that guy down and try to maybe get a Kraken out of this game, which would be a very good way to end it. His team all of a sudden has 912 points as there's only 2 enemy ships left, the Worcester over on the 10 line and the Conqueror that's moving to the southwest. It appears he is still burning, so I guess he didn't use his damage control. That was just quite a fail right there on my part for the commentary. But now he's going to have it about 11.5 kilometers, a full broadside BB, and he does pop his next smoke screen just in case. He doesn't want those Conqueror guns turning in on him, but the Conqueror is not paying attention anyway. So now he's going to get some nice, juicy broadside into this battleship, and you're going to see here just how quickly this Conqueror eats shit. 6,300 damage on the first salvo. Good stuff. 2,600 on the next one. You got to hit just above the belt. That's where you're going to get those big juicy pens. And this next salvo should do the trick as he picks up the Kraken Unleashed, and that ends a great game here on Ice Islands. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 874,000 credits received and 31,000 total experience. I would definitely imagine this was a first win of the day, so what a hell of a game. Confederate, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber were the medals that Alex received, dealing 230,000 points of damage off of 363 shell hits. He shot down 11 planes, secured 5 frags, 19 citadels, and 1 solo base cap on the B point. Taking a look at the team score, holy balls, 3,754 base experience. All of that sweet juicy XP for virtually annihilating 2 British cruisers and full health gearing, which is just, yeah, that's why that base XP is so high, just dealing so much damage to those guys. And yeah, that was awesome. That was a wonderful game. Taking a look at the detailed report, 230,000 damage with the main battery, of course, and it seems 0 damage with the secondaries. So all of the damage that was dealt was by the AP rounds, so awesome stuff. 1.3 million potential damage taken, which is pretty good for a British light cruiser. And yeah, just so much damage dealt to the cruisers and destroyers specifically. And then, of course, some good shells on the Yamato and the Conqueror as well. So, Alex, thanks for sending in this replay. That was one of the better Neptune replays that I've ever seen, and certainly better than anything that I've ever had. So, congrats on that game. Thanks for sending in the replay. Thank you also for being very polite with your email submission. You seem like a very good dude. So, yeah, thank you very much. This is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, please consider liking the video, commenting on it, subscribing to our channel. All of that is greatly appreciated, and have a great day.